With Manchester City winning their fourth consecutive Premier League title, some people are saying that the Premier League is turning into a farmers' league. I'm Squeak, and in today's video we're going to be discussing whether or not I think the Premier League has turned into a farmers' league. Before we get into it, make sure to like and subscribe and share with your friends if you enjoy the video. Alright, let's get started. I don't believe that the Premier League has turned into a farmers' league, and that might sound a little crazy considering that Man City has won 4 in a row now, but I'm going to give you a few reasons why I don't think it's farmers' league. The first thing that I think of when you think of a farmers' league is Bayern Munich winning the Bundesliga 11 consecutive times from 2013 to 2023. Prior to 2013, the last team that had beaten Bayern Munich to the Bundesliga title was Jurgen Klopp's Borussia Dortmund. After that, though, Bayern Munich went on an 11-year stretch of pure dominance that is just insane to think about. 11 consecutive league titles. You're either just an elite team that's untouchable, or you're just miles above your competition, or it could be a little bit of both. And while Manchester City have won 7 out of the last 8 Premier Leagues, it's not been like the way Bayern Munich have won those titles. I guess you could argue the exception here was actually the last Bundesliga season when Borussia Dortmund came 1 goal short of winning the Bundesliga, but I digress. Man City have won all those titles, but they've always been pushed to the brink by other teams, whether it's Liverpool or Arsenal, for example. They've always been challenged. Look at them just this morning, as of the time we're recording. Man City won the league, but they needed to win on the last day in order to do so. They didn't run away with the league this year by any means. It was a 3-horse race until the final few match weeks. Then it got down to 2. Even then, it was still so competitive, and they just barely managed to win it at the end. And that goes to show you the mentality of City and how they can consistently go on these runs, and that's more of a credit to them. But I can name you 115 reasons why I think it's not as credible, but that's conversation for another day. Just look at 2018-2019 when Liverpool put up 97 points and still didn't win the league because Man City had 98. You're not having a farmers league if you can have 2 teams like that are so incredibly good. It is absolutely insane to put up 97 points and still not win the league. I want to rewind a little bit because earlier on I had said that this year the Premier League was so competitive. Right up until the end, you had a 3-horse race. Well, not quite right up until the end. At the very end, it became a 2-horse race. But throughout the majority of the year, you had a 3-horse race for the title, and it was very close and very competitive. Farmers' leagues are not competitive by definition. Look at Ligue 1 and PSG winning the league year after year after year. They're not competitive. However, this year, the Premier League was so incredibly competitive. You had, towards the end of the year, into the 30s of the match weeks, you had Liverpool in the driver's seat, but then they slipped up against Everton and Crystal Palace. You had Arsenal then in the driver's seat. You know, they were way ahead on goal difference. They were smashing their opponents, right? But then they went and lost to Aston Villa, and then that put Man City back in the driver's seat. One thing that we must consider with Manchester City is their 115 charges. Now, I'm not going to go on a big, long rant about that. I'm sure some of you probably heard that and just rolled your eyes, right? But it is something that we have to consider. Yes, they have a great manager. Yes, they have great players. They have Phil Foden, Haaland, Kevin De Bruyne. The list goes on, right? But we do have to consider all the charges that have been put against them and what that could potentially mean. The hearing for Manchester City and all their charges hasn't happened yet, but when it does, if they are charged with all 115 of their charges, that's going to be a huge deal. It would be one of the largest cheating scandals in sports ever. Probably the largest in English football history. And that's something we also have to take into account, right? Because then, if all of this was built off of something that was not allowed, then all of this is going to be looked at way differently. Wolves beat City. Crystal Palace beat Liverpool. West Ham beat Arsenal. Top to bottom, the competitiveness is there in the Premier League. So even though Man City are winning all these titles, I don't think it's a farmers league because the general level is very high in the Premier League, and there are a lot of teams who can compete for top 4. There's a few teams like Liverpool, Arsenal, who can compete with Man City for those league titles. Who knows who we'll see emerge next season? And there's also the question of how legitimate the league titles are. Again, not going into that, but there is there. With that, thank you for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like, leave your thoughts down below in the comments. I only ask that you be respectful. If you do disagree with me, have a great day.